Matt Kean, the Deputy Liberal Leader, the Treasurer, and the man who wants to be New South Wales Premier one day. Matt Kean, welcome to the studio.
Ben, thank you for having me in person.
Nothing wrong with being ambitious, right?
I'm ambitious to make sure that the Liberal Party wins the next election, and I'm going to be doing everything I can to support Dom Perrottet to make sure that happens, because he's not only the best person to lead the Liberal Party, he is the best person to lead the state. And I'm going to be working my guts out to make sure we win come March next year.
You've got 7 months until the election. You've lost 2 ministers in 2 weeks. You know that party members are losing the faith. In fact, everywhere I go, I have people saying to me, these guys are cooked. These guys, you've already lost. You may as well concede defeat this morning and congratulate Chris Minns.
We're never going to concede defeat, because we know that it's our values and it's our plan to make sure New South Wales is a stronger and more prosperous place for every single person. That's exactly what's needed. So we need to fight every day for the people of this state, because we cannot hand over government to the union movement who just want to shut it down and trash the joint.
You know that when pressure's on that people lose their heads and they try and change the leader. Can you give your word this morning that you won't take over the leadership of the Liberal Party between now and March next year?
Well, what a silly question. The best person to lead the Liberal Party, because the best person to lead the Liberal Party is the best person to lead the state, Ben, and that is Dom Perrottet. Then daylight.
When you say it's a silly question, you have seen how politics works, right? When governments are in trouble, when leaders are under pressure, there will often be others who will think, righto, we need a new captain to fly the plane going into the next election. So I've just asked, will you give a commitment that you won't take over the leadership of the Liberal Party at any point between now and the next election?
Well, let me tell you why it's a silly question, is because Dom Perrottet is the best person to lead the Liberal Party now.
But you're not answering the question.
I am answering the question. And
No, the answer to the question would have either been yes or no. To say, yes, I give a commitment. Of course I
give a commitment. Of course, because
Dom
Perrottet is the best person not only to lead the Liberal Party, but to lead the state. He's an outstanding leader. He's the best person to lead the Liberal Party. And then daylight, let me tell you that. And I'm going to be doing everything to support him every step of the way, Ben.
Right, let's talk about the taxi industry. There are 5,000 families in New South Wales who've been dudded. They purchased taxi licences from your government, and then the value vanished overnight when you allowed ride-sharing services to compete with them. Fair enough, but these people were promised compensation. They've been waiting 7 years. You haven't helped them. So all of these people, and I'm going to read some of their messages to you this morning, heartbreaking messages. Jenny and Ross Bellinger, who've written to you 3 times. They've met with you in your office. You're their local member. You're the treasurer. You've given them nothing in the last budget. They begged you for help in 2019. You wrote back to them with your own handwriting, and I've got a copy of it here and I'll show it to you. You say at the bottom of the letter, now the election is out of the way, I will chase this up. That was 2019. It's not much of a chase. What are you going to do for these people?
Look, I empathise with the mums and dads, the retirees that bought these taxi licences and lost value because of a change in government decision.
Let's focus on questions and answers. They don't want your empathy. And the question is, what are you going to do for these people?
Well, if you'd let me get to the answer, I will do so.
Well, let's go straight to the answer.
Can I just finish, Ben? Because obviously, a number of years ago, the then Transport Minister, Andrew Constance, did a deal with the Taxi Council, who represent all those plate owners, and that was to provide compensation. Now, we've got $150 million worth of compensation out the door. I understand, and I've met recently with a number of plate owners who say that's not enough. We're looking at other options. We're currently working through that process at the moment, and we're seeing what can be done. This is a decision by the Expenditure Review Committee of Government. We're working through that process, and we'll hopefully have an announcement soon.
But there are some of these people who've got no compensation, right? They haven't received anything?
Well, $150 million has gone out the door. That's providing $20,000 for up to 2 plates for every owner.
$20,000 on plates that they purchased for $350 or $400,000.
In a deal done between the Taxi Council that represents plate owners and the New South Wales government at the time. Now, I met with the Taxi Council just recently, Ben. They came to see me. I think they've got a compelling case, particularly when you know that hire car plates were paid in full for their plates.
So if they've got a compelling case, why didn't we look after them in the recent budget when you made $30 billion worth of promises in the last budget? You know, more pledges than Scott Morrison and Anthony Albanese put together in the last federal election campaign. Why was there nothing for the taxi industry? Or Anastasia, who says to me, I'm a single mum. I purchased a taxi plate 20 years ago. I worked full-time to support my son and pay off the plate. There's now no income from that plate. The stress of not knowing how to pay next month's mortgage is taking its toll. You said in your budget speech, It is an economic imperative that we respect, hear and empower women. What do we say to Anastasia?
What we say to Anastasia is we're working through that process at the moment. Minister Elliott has worked up a package. Expenditure Review Committee has asked him to come back to us with more options for us to consider. We're doing that at the moment and we'll have more to say soon, Ben.
So is it too generous, the package that David Elliott put to the Expenditure Review Committee? Is that why
the Expenditure Review Committee wanted a number of options to build on what we've already done. We're working through that process as you would expect a good government to do.
Let me just read some of these messages. Libby says, my husband passed away 5 years ago and left 2 taxi plates in my name, which were giving me a monthly income of $3,700. I now get about $80 a month. I had to remortgage our family home to the tune of $300,000. I've been desperately waiting for compensation and I can no longer work. Peter says, I'm over 65. My plate was my superannuation. We're relying on their value to retire. I'm so angry. Vince says, I have 3 plates. I'm paying off a loan of $1 million. I'm making repayments on a product that's now worthless. I'm about to reach 60. I'm not sure how I can survive. I'm crying while writing this. And you've got here on this note in 2019 to Ross and Jenny, now the election's out of the way, I'll chase this up. It hasn't been much of a chase. It was 3 years ago.
That's exactly right. But I wasn't the treasurer in 2019.
Well, you are
I am
now.
and that's exactly why we're moving this forward. I'm working with the Transport Minister to get a package. We all, in response to some of those claims, the issues that you've raised, and they are very compelling stories. We have a hardship package to help those people most in need. But we can build on that. We're considering options, and we will come back to you very soon, Ben.
I'm going to give you a file here, and I'll just drop this on the desk so you can get a sense of these are all of the emails we've received from people who are desperate at the moment. So
can we take that file so we can work through that?
I'm going to hand that to you. I mean, good luck with it. So I'll hand it to you right now because it is huge. They're all the people who are begging for help. When you say we're working on it, when?
We've got a number of options that are currently being considered by the Treasury. We're working through the detail of that in light of our changed economic circumstances. But, Ben, as I said, we want to make sure that we get a fair deal for taxi plate owners.
Where is the light at the end of the tunnel? Because I can't keep saying to these people, he's working on it. Because you were telling people in 2019 you were working on it. 2019 went past, 2020 went past, 2021, we're now mid-2022. Let me give someone some kind of timeline to say, Ben, Matt Kean is going to have an answer by September, October, November, December.
I think people understand that in 2019 I was the Environment Minister. Now I'm the Treasurer. I've only been the Treasurer for a short period of time. And, as I said, the Minister is bringing forward options for Expenditure Review Committee to consider, and we will do so through the proper process.
Please give me some kind of timeline. It'll be done by the end of this year?
Well, we'll work with Minister Elliott to make sure we work through those options and come back as soon as possible.
By the end of this year?
That we want to do it as soon as possible, Ben.
But you won't even commit to having an answer for these people, Ben, in the year 2022.
Ben, we will go through the proper process like Expenditure Review Committee always does.
That's fobbing
when we
people
are spending
off.
Public money. No, we're not fobbing people off.
It is. It's treating people like dirt who've been waiting 7 years.
We're not treating anyone like dirt.
And when you say to people, it's treating people like dopes at the very least, where you say, don't worry, we've got some news coming. We're going to have something for you as soon as we possibly can. And then you say when, and you can't even say, can you commit to 2023?
What we can commit to is making sure we go through the proper process and get a fair outcome for taxi plate owners.
All right. Well, that's not going to fill them with hope because there's no date at all. I mean, most people in most businesses can say, you know what, I don't want to set unrealistic expectations here. I'm not going to say by the end of September or October. I'll let you know. By the end of this year, I'll have it sorted out. I mean, it's amazing that in your job as New South Wales Treasurer, with thousands of families and their futures on the line, that you can't even say that. I will have it sorted by the end of the year.
Well, I think I'm being very clear when I say I want to have this done as soon as possible. I want to make sure that we've considered those options, and that's exactly what we'll do, Ben.
Matt Kean is with us in the studio, the New South Wales Treasurer, the New South Wales Deputy Liberal Leader, and the man who wants to be New South Wales Premier one day. And I notice you're not correcting me on that when I say that, which is good.
Well, let me
don't worry.
Let me correct
we love
you,
ambition.
Ben. Let me correct you, Ben, and say that what I want is Dom Perrottet to win the next election. I'm going to do everything I can to make that possible.
Can I put it to you that you have an image problem? And I don't mean to sound like a psychologist or some kind of therapist, but
you're very well qualified to do that.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to pay me for my services. And believe me, this is hard to believe, I know, but not everyone's a fan of me either, Matt Kean. So I
don't believe that, Ben. I don't think that's possible.
I do understand what it's like not to have universal praise, but we have people all the time saying to us when your name comes up, and this is not just a 2GB thing, because you see it, whether it's people reading a whole range of newspapers, people that I bump into around the place, people have got an issue with you. You rub people the wrong way. There might be a trust issue there. It may be a lack of loyalty, that people think that you haven't been loyal to your own party or your own colleagues. And there's also that element of people thinking, well, he's obviously a smart bloke, he's obviously ambitious, but maybe, like Malcolm Turnbull, he's better suited to the Labor Party or being in the Greens. Now, do you hear this kind of feedback as well? Because I hear it everywhere.
Well, some people have those views. Some people have other views, Ben, and that's the beauty of our democracy, that we welcome a diverse range of views. I respect the many good people that listen to your program. I respect the many diverse opinions across our community. And my job every single day of the week is to work my guts out to build a stronger and more prosperous economy, a stronger and more prosperous future for every single person in this state. So I'm not going to be distracted by personality politics.
No,
I'm going to focus on delivering for the people of this state, whether it be with cost of living relief pressures, whether it be delivering affordable, accessible childcare so more women can participate in our economy, whether it be delivering universal pre-kindergarten so our kids get the best education, the best start in life, so that they not only can realise their dreams, but dream bigger in the first place. That's what I'm focused on.
You know that the salesperson is an important part of the equation when you are delivering a product. And what you've just outlined there are the products and the policies, and they're very important things, don't get me wrong.
Products that I've driven, that I've worked hard to develop to make sure New South Wales is the best place in the country to live.
What can we do about the salesman? What can we do about Matt Kean? Because we can offer you some assistance. What can we do to improve your brand, if I can put it that way? Because you would acknowledge it's either that or all these people are wrong. I mean, is it everyone else who's wrong? Or are there aspects of your personality and your approach that could be tweaked, that could be improved in some way for more people to say, you know what, maybe I was wrong on Matt Kean?
Look, I respect the many diverse opinions on me. Some people have very strong views one way or the other on me. What I'm trying to focus on is making sure I work my guts out, whether people like me or they don't, to make their lives better, to make our state stronger, and to create more opportunities for everyone. That's what I'm going to do, Ben.
I think there's a perception that you've undermined some of your colleagues, and we saw that during the federal election campaign where you were messaging journalists saying, hey, you should pap Natalie Ward. She's one of your colleagues. Or ask tough, tricky questions to the Prime Minister, Scott Morrison. He at the time was the head of the Federal Liberal Party. You know, people see those things and think, well, if he's not loyal to them, how loyal is he going to be to me? There's a trust issue.
I've devoted my entire adult life to the Liberal cause and the Liberal Party, and I will always work my guts out for the Liberal values of opportunity, enterprise, and make sure that I work to see Liberal governments elected.
What can you do to iron out some of those behaviours? Because some of those behaviours have got people questioning your character. So is there any acknowledgement from you whatsoever that there can be some improvements that maybe could be made on the Matt Kean front to say to some of those people, look, you know, as we all do, we grow, we learn lessons?
Well, I can always improve, and I'm always striving to do better for my party, for the community, for our state, and that's what I'll always do. Sometimes I'll make mistakes, and, you know, I stick my hand up, I come on your program, you give me a hard time, I own those mistakes, but I get back to working for the people of this state. That's what I've done since I was elected in 2011, for my community in Hornsby, for the people of New South Wales, and that's what I'm going to continue to do every day of the week to make New South Wales an even better place for everyone.
Okay. Should I put in a bill for this therapy session? Or
thank you.
You know what? This one's
Where's
on the
couch?
This one's on the house. Good luck with that file, because there are a lot of people there, and I'm hoping.
I promise we will work through this. We will get a great result, and I'm working with Minister Elliott to make sure we land it very well.
We appreciate your time.
Great to see you, Ben.
Matt Kean joining us live in the studio. He is the New South Wales Treasurer. And to all of those taxi licence plate holders who have written to us, we've handed over a big, fat file to the New South Wales Treasurer. I'm hoping we get the right resolution for you.
Mum,